Hello, beautiful souls. So, I covered heart space, changing of the pendulums, the thought forms, the egregores, and I've covered the ages of enlightenment, which is what being a Christ or a Christian really is, and talked about mineral consumption and why micro minerals and minerals are most important when you're sick. And I covered whether you do vegan juicing or you do full meat carnivore. And so mostly one of the most important things is if you have Candida, you can't feed the sugars. And that is why, and only why, I think, unless, it's because of your body type and genetic type, they're finding like some people that exist here still have like 85% something more Neanderthal DNA than others, whether that's true or whatever, But we have different body makeups, different blood types, and different metabolic types and system types. And this is why I like Ayurvedic medicine, though they've gone more back into everything's got to be vegetarian than anything. But no, it's more on body typing. So body typing is important. So if you have Candida, there are herbs you can take, which I will write down and talk about the different ones that I cycle through. I said like tulsi leaf, like I don't believe you should start with probiotics. I think you should start with your diet only, like I said before, whether you vegan juice or you go full carny, which should probably for a while just be good cut steaks, like I said. Because if you start adding in the less dense proteins like eggs and butters, which butter you may need to keep yourself regular, you can also use magnesium for that if you're not someone who is already so damaged that you can't stop going, or have so much Candida that's causing that. So it's important to whatever diet you get on, the point is to get all the sugar out and any types of sugar out for a couple weeks, whether you water fast and just do, lemon water and cayenne, or like lemon, cayenne, ginger, in order to keep the metabolism moving in the body warmed. Excuse me, I'm going to have digestive issues. I'm just going to keep on doing these hiccups until they're ready to stop. So stop already. Anyways, this is how I talk to my body. Doing micronutrients while getting rid of any form of sugar is like when you're really unwell. So what I'm saying is, like, don't put down people for being on a full meat diet, carny diet, or a full, or a micro or a juice. It's where your body is, where you've got to work with it. So if you have external thrush, and you can use vinegar, which I couldn't at first because my Candida was too much, my stomach was too messed up. You can use gentian violet. You can use holy basil, they call tulsi leaf. You can use oregano. All these things have to be rotated like three days on this, 3 days on that. I do the same with ivermectin. So Podacra tea, is that? I think it's a craw tea. I will relist all these things. Also basil, and then there is I don't know why I'm forgetting. I want to call it tarragon, and it's not tarragon. So you have to rotate whatever you're using to treat Candida until your body can do pro and prebiotics. Your body can't always, when it's very sick, just go into a state. So which is why I'm saying micronutrients, even if you're just boiling all your veggies and drinking the water until you can get to a place where you can juice, and covered the importance of water also in a past video. So getting to a place where you can receive the nutrients is most important, which is why micronutrients are most important, colloidal minerals, and if you can tolerate dairy, cell salts. Homeopathy is super important for offing disease. And rotating these high-level anti-candida type medicines as you can afford. The big thing there is with people's health is so run down, they're generally out of money or dependent on the state or, just going without. So in that case, like boiling your veggies and just drinking the water, which may seem like a waste, but you can blend all that stuff up and freeze it if you have availability to a freezer, or you can donate the food. Save it for a time when you can actually eat it again, which if you have Candida bad, everything should be fresh. And fresh veggies are very hard to get a hold of. Ones that are not treated and ones that are not moldy. So getting juice from a juicing company is much better way to go. If you can do a juice subscription and have it locally delivered or get it someplace near you, it's the best way to go. Fresh stuff, as fresh as you can get. Same with your meat. If you can, and like I wasn't able to, but if you can get your meat, cook it and eat it the same day. So I wasn't able to do that because I didn't have access to a fridge or a freezer totally to myself. So if not, you can freeze your stuff immediately. It should be frozen immediately. But of course, fresh is best. Meat or veggies or fruit, juice, whatever you're doing. So doing this type of fungal removal, fungal infections, cider vinegar is great. If you can't do cider vinegar because of your stomach, lemon water, which brings up the pH. But killing off fungus and mold in your house and in your body is super important. Like if you're trying to kill it in your body, but you're not killing it in your house, white vinegar is the way to go. Wash everything down with white vinegar. You can also, if you have black mold or mold issues in the house and you're sharing a home, run vinegar in your air hydrator, which you can breathe in and it will kill it within your lungs. You don't want to like stick your face right over it unless you really need to drain your sinuses, which I've talked about before and I do. You can use tea tree oil inside yourself if it's a good one, and out in your exterior of your home. You can use something called thieves oil to wash down the walls, and borax. Those things in rotations will kill off mold. If you can get any kind of extra clothing, carpeting, all that stuff out of your house or wash it regularly, it's super important. And all this stuff is not easy. It's hard. It's why I'm saying get your heart together and find your soul space first, because to me it's way easier to do than the diet stuff, because I did the diet stuff my whole life and got nowhere. Depression, the rise and fall of, depression, manic, pushing yourself, exhaustion, all those things were cleared up with the breathing and heart space, which is why I say that's the first place you should go. But if you need to do everything in a hurry, then you need to do it all in a hurry together. So once you arrest the Candida and then build up the microbiome again, which I prefer natural fermented things and foods for that, over buying probiotics and all that. But again, if you've got to recolonize, you shouldn't be spending a fortune on probiotics. You should be able to do that by doing like a solid week of a really good probiotic. And then like if you have an issue where, like I did, where your inflammation and rashes and methylation is so high, you can only take certain probiotics, which I'll try to write those down and bring that back up. But you can research that. There's only when you have methylation bad, there's only certain things you'll tolerate. Methylation often comes from antibiotics and injections and shots. It's like a blood type of poisoning that your body will make everything into alcohol, which is why I said I had to do B12 shots because I had none left and I was having neuromuscular seizures from that, which sometimes when I get real sick I still have, but I know that that's neuromuscular, and that comes from being depleted from the HSV1 virus, the herpes simplex, the cold sore virus, which gets in and sits on the nerves so that even if you don't have visual outbreaks, you can have within along your spine and your nervous system, and it can do horrible things to your nervous system. So, I talked about it being important that you get the B vitamins in but you can't eat by injection. Micronutrients will arrest that at the cellular level. And then you need to have no alcohol and no fermentation when you're arresting your methylation. And you need to feed the body things that are non-fermented until you can get the inflammation under control. And really, methylation, a lot of that comes from the Candida being in your body for a long time anyways, or these diseases and bacteria, which is where homeopathy comes in and is super important. Cell salts, if you're allergic to milk, of course, you're not going to be able to do the pellets. You can find lactose-free pellets now, and you can find lactose-free liquids or the liquid types, which I highly recommend those over the pills anyways. But they will work, and you will start off with a certain homeopathic remedy, and within so many days or a week or whatever, depending whether you're using homeopathic flower and tree remedies, Bach remedies, or you're using cell salts, or you're using homeopathy, you're going to have to do some research on those things. You will have to take certain ones for a little bit of time, and then you progress into the next recommended thing, which these are very cheap, $8-9 for a tube of these things. But you will progress through symptoms emotionally and physically, and you can use these to energetically heal what your body's going through physically, because there's always trauma attached to illness, disease, and all those things. We're a full spiritual, physical, mental biome. So moving into the homeopathy, you'll learn that you are going to take certain things in patterns until you go back to whatever you're using to treat the two base illnesses, which are always STD, viral related type of things, which is what classic homeopathy teaches. And you'll get down to these base elements and then use the cell salts to build yourself up, or continue to use cell salts. Bach flower remedies are great too for the emotional stuff. And if you can get in massages or do your own tapping and lymph massage while you're going through all of this, super important to, drain the lymph every day. Look on YouTube. They have like 6 and 10 minute lymph drainage things you can do every day. But moving the lymph is super important. If you horseback ride, if you rock in a rocking chair, jump on a trampoline, do Qigong, Tai Chi, those are all things that are going to move your lymph for you. Taking baths, if you can, are super important daily with the salts, with magnesium salts, with Epsom salts, anything that you can put in the water to detox yourself, even if it's herbs and herbal tea type things. Super important. Bathing and detoxing. Anything that's going to move the toxins from the skin and the lymph is most important. And you want to be putting on your skin only things that you would put in your mouth and in your body. You don't want to be using topical stuff that is dangerous. I do recommend borax. Some people are scared of it. They won't use it. I highly recommend it for rash types things. They still use it for bed sores and sores in the hospital. They just change the name of the chemical ingredient to something else and then charge a fortune for the cream. So you're basically putting borax cream in an open wound, which they always did in the old days, to keep it from getting gangrene and to flush away dead stuff. It's safer than peroxide, though you can use diluted peroxide for those things too. The natural medicines are the simplest medicines. Like my grandma lived for cider vinegar and good quality oils and Epsom salt baths and wintergreen, oil of wintergreen. That was like her thing. For me, also, I grew up with upper respiratory issues, so lobelia, which a lot of people are afraid to take and don't like. Silly. It was even taken off the market and illegal for a long time in America because it will stop spasmodic attacks of any kind. And I'm not supposed to say this, but I'll just tell you it's what I believe. It helps strokes, anything that where your lung or airways is seizing up, or for me, it used to be allergic reactions. So I always keep lobelia on hand, always. It's something that is in my emergency kit for herbal stuff, homeopathic stuff, oils, oregano oil, anything topical. If you do oregano and lavender and mix it way down with the carrier oil, can get rid of any infections. I used to get like what they used to call in the old days cat scratch fever, which is actually like I'm not going to be able to remember what it's called right now. Herpes zoster, which will eat away at your flesh and your skin. I used to get that on my face, and the way I got rid of that, and it never came back after doing tons of topical antibiotics, was oregano and lavender and thyme. Thyme was the other oil that I was saying is super important to do with the oregano and switch it up. Thyme oil can eradicate cysts within the body, the breasts, the lymph system. It can keep you from having to have surgery, get rid of breast lumps. You have to rotate the thyme oil with the oregano oil, and you can mix those two with a little lavender, and mix it down with a carrier oil. It'll tell you how to do all that stuff online or in books about oils, because those oils can be lifesavers. So to keep them at all times when you can is super important. Thieves oil is another thing, super important. Any upper respiratory oil, Oblis, which is a name brand of mixed oils. It's just kind of like a Vicks. Vicks is not made as potent as it used to be. So baking soda baths, baking soda topical scrubs for rashy skin and itchy skin. All those things are super important, because if you got parasites internally, you have them topically. So running over this quick, I've already gone through 20 minutes of basic things you can have within yourself, in your home. Don't get confused. If the least that you can do is a couple things, do a couple things and add things in as you can handle it. Back to microdosing. Microdosing, MJ, cannabis, super important unless you have an allergy to it, which a lot of people do now because of bad rotten hemp put in everything. And I'm not saying hemp is bad. I'm saying they put moldy, rotten hemp. And a lot of rotten, moldy foods are the reason why you get allergies to anything. And because they also change the chemical quality of the marijuana plant, breeding it the way they do. It's like genetically modified. So mushrooms like amanita and anything like penis envy, or I think one's called a dragon's lair, dragon's blood, dragon's stone. I forget, it's a dragon name. King's something or other. There's different types. Also, when you're microdosing, you should switch out. The point is not to get high, though you might a little. If you get too high with mushrooms, it's going to force you to have to breathe deep, because you're going to get panicky or antsy or, whatever, or you're going to hallucinate a little and maybe be scared. If you have fears that you need to deal with in your subconsciousness, it'll bring them out. So that's why I say, like, tiny. You want to dose enough just so that you can feel yourself getting flushed. That's the whole point, is moving things out and relaxing the body. And if you get nauseated or feel scared or whatever, cannabis is a good thing. If you can't do cannabis, CBD, if you can't do something to calm you down on that end of the spectrum, then you want to move into herbs that calm you down. So like lemon balm, chamomile, different things like that, which I'm going to go over and write down and represent these things as I go along. But I wanted to get out the importance of the basics for you to arrest things within your own health. There's so many things online. We get so inundated. And I am going to post the people I recommend in my about info and the channels I recommend. I'll try to update that today. And the about info of herbalists that are like simple, straightforward, and that you can trust. And literally, like one of the things you want to do for weight, they talk about the apple cider vinegar thing. That's going to be apple cider vinegar with or without honey, depending if you're doing sugar or not. And it's going to be turmeric and pepper. And you can do the exact same thing with lemon, water, honey, and cayenne. They're basically kind of the same thing, just different people's body metabolism reacts different to that weight loss thing. And most of all, you want to avoid alcohol or fermented things if you have Candida. Alcohol should be avoided when you're doing any kind of cleanse, basically, I think. Though there are extracts and things that will have alcohol in them, so you're going to be getting some in you if you're taking those, especially if you're into ancient Chinese medicine and you're taking like elixirs that have a alcohol base, or you know, like the secret formulas I've shared. Like I had a friend, I believe from Laos, and he just had colloidal minerals and herbs and all these things, but they were mixed in alcohol, and he took them as a shot. So I'm saying, like, in those cases, like I take my Amanita in alcohol. I soak the mushrooms in Everclear. I use it topically for spinal pain and nerve pain from the HSV. I use it topically if I have an injury or pain in a joint, because with Ehlers-Danlos, the joint pain just jumps all over the body to different spots, and whichever you have an injury or inflammation, and it's going to hang out there the longest while you heal. So Amanita and alcohol, I totally use topically. For rashes, for stomach pain, you put that in your belly button. Another great thing I recommend to use head to toe, coconut oil. If you can't do coconut oil, and some people cannot, you need to use castor bean oil, which is a lifesaver for your skin at any age. If you can get the black, it's better. Get it in glass. Don't get it in plastic. Again, glass over plastic, because of plastic micronutrients are a pollution, and they are in your brain. So I'll talk another time too about essential oils. Like orange is important to have to cleanse everything. It gets rid of heavy metals from the body, and it arrests a lot of things. So, but you have to go step by step, because there's so many things you can inundate yourself. Orange oil will take off anything sticky topically off of anything. It's a wonderful thing to have. In small doses, like I mean drips, it'll remove heavy metal from the body. If you can't tolerate putting them in your body, you can put the essential oils on your feet. So that's great about essential oils. Even if like you can't stomach garlic, you can crush a garlic clove, wrap it in cloth. It better be in cloth, because it'll burn a hole in your foot. You won't feel it. It'll burn a hole in your foot, make a blister. But you can put that on the bottom of your foot, wrapped in a cloth, and then put it in a sock. And you'll taste the garlic on your breath in the morning. So I can't take garlic internally, so I can do stuff like topically. I put garlic oil in the ear, mullein oil in the ear, because I have upper respiratory and ear infection issues. So yeah, those are my basic things. I'll talk about them more. I'll try to do short videos, more on individual things as I have time. So thank you for sharing your time. Thank you, beautiful souls.